PHP coders, have you ever seen people use the double question mark or even the question mark colon operator? Today we're going to take a look at what this actually does. Let's say we take an input from a user and it's equal to input, and we want to print something if this input is set or if the input is not set. We can create an if statement, if input, and if this input is true, we can echo the input, and if this is not true, we can echo our default statement, in this case just a string default. This actually is a lot of lines of code, and it can get quite complicated if there are multiple factors in play. And there's a very nice shorthand way of writing this, and this is called the ternary operator. We can say if input is equal to input, in this case input is a condition. We can type a question mark. If this condition is true, we want to use the input. Then we write a colon, and if this input is not true, we want to use our default state. Now our filtered input is saved into the input variable, and we can just echo the input. This is a much more clear way of writing this. If we execute our code right now, you can see input is set and input is printed. If input was not set, if it was just null, and we print it, we can see, okay, this condition is not true, input is not chosen, default is chosen in this case, and we echo the default statement. However, there's an even shorter way of doing this. Instead of saying, if this is true, use this, if not, use this, we can say, if this is true, use this, by completely removing the true case. This is called the Elvis operator. Now we have a shorthand for a shorthand. If this is true, use this, if it's not true, use this. And when we run this, we can see it still says default, and when we give it an input, it still says input. However, what happens if our program works in a way that our input variable is not even set if the input of the user is non-existent? When we run this, we can see we get a PHP warning, undefined variable input. And this is because this is a shorthand for input is equal to true. And we can't do this comparison because the input variable is non-existent. So there's another way of writing this, and that's called the Null Coalescing operator. And that's instead of question mark colon, we say question mark question mark. And this, however, is a shorthand for is set input. And if input is set, use input. If it's not set, use the default. So when we run this, we can see we get the default. And if we have a user input and we run this, we get the user input. So remember, we have three cases. We can say input, if this is true, use this, otherwise use this, and we can do whatever we want here, any condition. We can even say input question mark colon default. This is if this is true, use this, if it's not true, use the default. And we have the Null Coalescing operator, and that is if this is set, use this, if not, use this. Thank you guys for watching. Like, share, and subscribe for more coding tips.